Welcome to the PAC Show, the show that brings you all the highlights, the lowlights, the reviews, the previews, the news, and the interviews from rugby here in Australia and around the world.
We lost every game.
Always need to be heard, these bastards.
What? Punch on! What is happening? Samu Krebe! Samu, how you doing, brother? What is happening?
In the car.
Yes, the boys. Thank you, everyone.
With the best of friends.
Hilarious.
Yeah, one I won't remember. I will remember.
Yeah, we got him.
Can't be good at it. That's the one thing I'll leave you with.
Yeah, how you going, everybody? Welcome to the PAC Rugby Show. It's Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. We're feeling frisky, we're feeling fine, and we're having a bloody good time. Tonight we've got an absolutely massive show. Joining us in just a minute or two, we have the man himself, the Wizard of Oz, Maurice Longbottom from the Aussie 7 setup. He's going to be giving us a ring, ting, 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 tingling. On top of that as well, Michael Atkinson's going to be joining us from Channel 9, diehard rugby fan. He'll be joining us to break a few stories, give us some insight into PAC news so we don't look as stupid as we actually are. On top of that as well, we've got a Battlers Bench segment that's going to get nice and weird, and I'm absolutely champing at the bit for it. But before we get into it, before we get Mo on the line, got to introduce the starters once again. They're back once again. Ebony and Ivory, it is Joey Lala and Harry Higgins. Oh.
Hit Higgins.
Hit Higgins.
Double H. Not
Yeah,
Triple
baby.
H. But,
HCH, actually, just if you know. Harrison Gordon Higgins, just so you know.
Yeah,
Play with Sunny Coast
Whatever helps you
Stingrays.
sleep at night.
Hey, he just went in the water. I didn't say yes or no.
And also tonight, riding Pine all by himself. It is Big Fat Das and his pet corgis at home. What's the matter?
this is... I just thought this could represent Ryan for tonight.
About as much
Volleyball.
input.
How are you, J-Boy?
I'm very well, Big Fat Das. How you feeling, mate?
Pretty good. You know, I got heaps of space. I keep sitting on this bit of timber here. That's all right. Good, mate.
Should be used to it.
Good input, Has. Hell yeah. We're off to an absolute flyer now. As we said, we started the show off by saying the Wizard of Oz himself is joining us. And on the blower right now, we've got Maurice Longbottom. Maurice, how you doing, brother?
Good, boys. How are we?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream, mate. Thanks so much for joining us. Just first and foremost, how's the body pulling up after Hong Kong and Singapore Sevens, in particular Hong Kong, and more so the after party?
No, there was no after party in Singapore as we didn't go too well, so it was all business there. But it does take a while for the body to get going after the 2 weeks, I'll tell you that much.
Well, mate, I just want to, straight off the bat, I mean, like, we're going to get into, you know, your story and ask a few questions about the game at the moment. But for a lot of people who may not know, the Maurice Longbottom stories are really, it's a weird one. You grew up playing rep footy through the Rabbitohs system, and then you were told just as a youngster you're not going to be big enough to play. And it sort of, that, as a kid, that's obviously got to sting a lot, especially considering your two uncles played for the Rabbitohs. It's all you knew. You're a leaguey born and bred. How do you get that news and then within about 10 or 15 years, you're captaining the Aussie Sevens rugby side at the Sydney Sevens?
Yeah, look, as you said, as a young fella, it crushes you a little bit, you know, breaks you, and sort of you just throw it all behind you, and you know you're like, oh, well, what do I even playing footy for anymore? And like that's what I did as a young fella. I just sort of left it as it was and was just like, can't make it. That's what it is. It is what it is. Then I had a good mate of mine sit down with me and said, look, don't let that, you know, be what it is. Put it to the side. Let's train hard on the side here. Go to work, do what you have to do, and then come home and we'll go and train in the park and sharpen up your skills and get what we need to get out in the park. And to his credit, he put in a lot of hard work for me, and it turned a lot of things around for me. I got a chance at the under-20s with the Bulldogs. But then again, I had a school teacher who was a coach at the time, and we just butted heads at school, so it was never going to end well there. But then again, he sat down with me again and just said, that's not the end there. We're just going to keep pushing hard. And we did, and you know, I got my chance and took it with both hands and never looked back. So, like you said, it is a journey and it has come a long way.
Yeah, solid. So you know, after the Rabbitohs and I suppose coming through that, what was the pathway after that? Did you then go through the Lloydie system? Did you then go straight into Aussie Sevens, or what was the pathway there for you?
Yeah, so South I was still pretty young. I was still in my teens. So then I just went back to playing footy on a Sunday with a bunch of my mates, like having a laugh, playing footy. go out on a Sunday after and have a few beers, then rock up to work on Monday feeling dusty as.
Yeah.
So-
You're on the right show there, mate.
Bit of real footy. There you go. Love it.
There were a lot of that's what I was doing until I was about 21, and then I got the chance to go to Lloydie's down in Adelaide, and sort of was like, yeah, sweet, let's go do it. And a few of the boys in the team at the time. Peachy was actually down there playing.
Yeah.
And then sort of got an opportunity with the Aussie Sevens to go and train for 3 days. At the time, I was working for myself, so it was fine. And on the first day of training, I made a break in the middle of space, pinged my hamstring, and I was just like, oh no, what have I done? But they looked after me, rehabbed me, and they invited me back down again, and all went well, and I got invited to go over to Munich with them. And we ended up taking that tournament out, which was awesome. It was such a good experience to go over to another country I'd never been before. And then after that, the coach at the time just said, you're not going anywhere. We're locking you down. So to see that all the hard work pay off, it was very overwhelming.
Nah, solid, bro.
Mate, Longers, just quickly here, a little bit of sidestep from the rugby stuff, but more into like the Indigenous culture here. What does it mean to you to be a part of or an icon in the Indigenous culture and a role model for the future generations coming through the sport?
It means a lot to me, actually. Growing up as a young Indigenous kid, I could have easily taken the wrong path, hanging out with some of the boys I was back in the day. But lucky enough to have some people around me to push me in the right direction. That's something that I want to do for the young kids as well, looking to strive for, big goals, whether it's in sport or whether it's in something else. And if I can help with that along the way, then I'm more than happy to help out wherever I can, whether that's, getting some shoes or some boots for training or just taking them to training or whatever they need. So anything I can do, I'm more than happy to help out.
Absolutely.
Awesome, mate. Mate, the Aussie Sevens team during the COVID year, were half of the paid players were cut, and then what was the journey like going from that to going to being world champs last year?
Oh, mate, that was pretty grim, to be honest, the COVID area. Mate, we were training down in Centennial Park, one-on-one with the coach.
Yuck.
And then, mate,
It's tough.
it was so bad. And, we had to keep 1.5 or whatever it was at the time away.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's standing over there blowing a whistle. We're running, doing drills. And then down the back near the road, we've got a little one-man gym set up with bench press and squat rack and stuff. Mate, it was grim training down there one-on-one with the coaching staff. But then, I think that sort of shaped us to get to that World Series. We did all the shitters at the start, did all the hard yards and all the grit, and then we just, once we got back to that main squad, we just sort of translated it into every single person that come in. And that's what we were. We were just hard work and just didn't bow down for anything.
Love it.
And Maurice, I want to ask you, mate. So you kind of touched on it before, how you went through that Lloydie system and stuff like that. And talking about the Indigenous culture, you've said in the past that it was actually Brendan Williams, for people who don't know, one of the craziest attacking sevens players Australia's ever produced, the world's ever produced. And he was actually the first one that came up to you and actually said, you want to play sevens? And you were like, piss off, mate. It's not for me. And he was like, just thought you might like it, bruh. And 6 months later, you were in the setup and you absolutely loved it. But there are guys like him and I think Glenn Eller as well. Do you stay in contact with guys like that as well nowadays to in a mentorship type of role, or do you have much involvement with them at all?
Yeah, so I still speak to both those guys quite often. Brendan was actually funny. He's like, come play rugby, bro. You'll love it. Nah, I'm not playing rugby. I'm staying with league. But fair enough. As soon as I got over there, he was the first person to message me. And he always messages me after every tournament, saying good luck before and well wishes and stuff like that. So it's always good to talk to Brendo. And Uncle Glenn was actually my first ever sevens coach.
Oh, shit. Not
Yeah,
bad.
he was my first ever sevens coach up at the Yellow Sevens, and we actually won that too. That's how I got picked from Lloydie's up at the Yellow Sevens, and he was coaching, and he always messages me as well. So yeah, it's always good to have those two texting me and just letting me know that they're there if I need anything or a chat or anything. So yeah, they're a good bunch of blokes.
Bloody oath.
How good. Just a quick question. What are your thoughts on the new signing of the young Hadley Tonga? And have you managed to have a conversation with him yet?
Yeah, I've seen Hadley a few times. He hasn't been in lately. I've seen him before we went away.
Yeah.
He's sort of come in and trained with us and stuff. He's got some wheels on him. But he was walking around the
Is
moon
he
boot.
quicker than you?
We'll have to wait and see out in training field.
Just he's got the better hammy, eh? He's got the better hammy.
And Hammy might come out again. He's a good young fella. We love having him in at training. But, like I said, he was in a moon boot last time I seen him, so I'm not sure what's going on there with his ankle, or I think it was a syndesmosis or something.
Yeah.
But, it'd be good to get him back in there and get around the boys.
Yeah, nice, boss. And just around that, what are your thoughts around, him obviously coming into the sevens program and then progressing into 15s? What are your thoughts on that? Do you reckon the environment's going to be a good environment for him there?
Yeah, I reckon he'll love it. He'll definitely come in and make the competition a lot better at training with the boys anyway.
Yeah.
I reckon he'll love it. He'll come in. The boys are all welcoming. No one's really a knobhead or anything like that. Everyone welcomes everyone with open arms and stuff like that.
If anyone was, you're welcome to spill the beans, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bus here, so you can throw him in front of it. Yeah.
Nah, they're all a good bunch of blokes. Some of them. Most of them anyway.
Some of
Yeah,
them.
some of them. See, there it is. Bruh, safe space. If you want to say it,
Red
just say it,
flag,
man.
red
Just say
flag.
it. It's
No
all
one's
good, mate.
listening.
It's all good.
Oh.
No one's listening. No, I'm kidding.
No, I got training tomorrow, so I have to go to the spot fires.
Someone will see. Mate, just jump in the back of Joey there, and obviously the question I asked before, do you generally think sevens is a pathway into 15s?
Yeah, I reckon it is 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you think it
I
crosses
guess-
over fundamentally? Do you think there's the same attitude that approaches? Is it more team-based? Do you think it's more strategic? What is the differences, and what do you think are the similarities?
Well, everything, to be honest. Like, sevens is, to me, it's the pinnacle. You got to be quick. You got to be thinking on your feet quick.
Yeah.
Like, before you know it, the game's over.
Yeah.
Whereas in 15s, you've got a little bit more time to get into your groove and find your groove and build into the game. Whereas sevens, you've got to be able to go off that
100%.
first whistle.
Yeah.
So I think in that side of the things, it builds you mentally to get ready for your game to be bang, you're on straight away. And the speed aspect of it as well. It's lightning quick, as you boys have seen. You don't have a chance to catch your breath. So I reckon it's a really good stepping stone for the boys that want to come in and learn a little bit of sevens and then eventually push on the 15s.
Just to back that up there, do you think it's a great way to start out your career? Do you think it's, or even someone that comes from rugby going into it, is it a good skill-based for somebody that needs to upskill? Do you think it's a good training platform for them to be able to better themselves, or is it more so just
100%. No, there's so many skills you have to have in rugby. Like, everyone has to know how to pass a ball at least 10, 15 metres. Like, there's 7 people on a full field.
Yeah.
And what's full field's like 70 metres or something like that. So you've got to be able to rip a ball. And if you can't rip a ball and you're out there ripping rainbows, then someone's going to get smoked and the ball's going to blow
that's his
up.
career. This whole time
Mate,
he's
they
been
call
ripping
him
rainbows.
Mr. Rainbow.
Yeah, he's been ripping
That's for a
rainbows his whole
different
career,
reason,
boss.
That's double rainbow.
Seriously, guys, I'm trying to be serious here. But
Yeah, you haven't been throwing passes with Nathan Lawson, have you? He's for rainbow.
where did he tell you something? No, mate, the reason why I asked is when I was over in the States, obviously a lot of the younger kids coming through rugby haven't had the experience we've had as a young age, being exposed to rugby from 4 or 5 years old. So when they're coming into it, they're coming out of high school, going into college, and they've had the ability to go into a sevens program, and they've adapted these skills. They've made them, elite sevens athletes, but they've never had the exposure to 15s. I'm just wondering if you see there's going to be a crossover benefit, or if you think that they're just going to become a sevens athlete.
Well, I've never played 15s before. Since the COVID era, I've come straight into sevens.
Yeah.
So everything I knew about rugby was from sevens.
Yeah.
So, 100% I agree that it's just going to improve your skills by tenfolds if you come into the sevens as a stepping stone and then go into the 15s.
Yeah, definitely. Just on that, quickly before Darcy asks you a question, do you reckon you'll go into 15s, boss?
I've had a dabble for the weeks, and, mate, to be honest, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I had a heap of
where
fun
did you play?
there. I played 9 for a bit, and
Yeah.
I didn't really like it. All I did was just pass the ball and just distribute.
That's
But then I got
That's
to
a
play
great
fullback
9. That's a
and-
great 9.
Here's a little bit of footage.
Hey!
Actually.
Okay.
Losso still has nightmares about that game. Just ask me about it.
But then there's another 7-star that's transitioned to 15s, Dylan Peach on the end of the pass there, Mo.
Peachy.
I mean, we've seen in particular the transition from 7s to 15s. It used to be a bit disjointed because they were such diversely different games, but you've seen there is a there is an example now. Obviously, you were chopping up down the wicks there, but you've got Dylan Peach, Ben O'Donnell, Corey Toole have all done the switch pretty successfully. And so clearly, like, do you see, referring back to Hadley Tonga, the way his deal is set up is that it's 3 years in the sevens setup with the third year potentially going into the TARS setup in a 15s environment. Do you think that's a sound way to really make that transition a little bit easier? Because we've now got examples of guys that have really shown that there is a hell of a lot of benefit to get some of the sevens guys in the mix.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he's got the same contract as young Darby Lancaster. And, his game's just growing and getting better and better the more he finds his body growing up. He's still 20 years old. He's still a young lad. But he's finding himself now, and he's getting bigger, and he's backing himself a lot more. He's playing with a lot more confidence, and he's ripping it up. He's tearing it up. So, yeah, no, I'm excited to see how Hadley comes along and how he progresses over the few years.
Yes. Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah. All right. So I've got one last question. I've just been passed the bloody mic here by Das, but maybe we'll go with it. Mate, just the last thing here. It's a little bit of a combo. You've played league, you've had experience with sevens, and you've done a little bit with 15s here. Do you think that there could be more done with a pathway for the Indigenous culture to be promoted into sport through those three avenues of athletic performance?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, I don't know if it was Addo Carr or Latrell Mitchell come out and said a few months ago that there's so much talent being wasted at the Aboriginal knockout. Yeah, and it's the same that goes at the LS7s. There's so much talent that's up there, and they're putting it on display, and there's no one up there watching, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just all going to waste.
Yeah, from a grassroots level, I'm just talking for me personally. I have a lot of involvement with coaching in high school and cult level, and I see some of these absolutely incredibly talented young athletes coming through that have the skill, but there's not really the support or the foundation from, I guess, the club culture. Or I'm not sure if it's the club or it's the organisation itself to bring them through to keep them going to higher levels, which will allow them to achieve that sort of, result that you are at now. Obviously, you've had the personal commitment, you've gone through the hard work yourself, but I was just interested to see if you thought there would be some sort of, method program that you would be able to support, or, some sort of advocacy program that you want to be behind or you've known of that there would be in the program now that would be able to support that program.
Yeah, well, they had the First Nations program that came out, and that sort of once COVID come along, sort of killed it, which is a bit devastating because I thought there's a lot of good talent in that team, and again, that's just another avenue for us Indigenous kids to go out there and put our skills and showcase them out on the world stage.
100%. Mate, just quickly, we're going to our Fast Five here from Dal Murphy. He's not going to be here today, so I've taken the cap of the ginger on the show, so I'll quickly run through them for you here. Mate, as quick as you can. First thing that rattles off your head. Pack show, here we go. Number one, any athlete from any sport, who would you have?
G.I.
Oh, daddy.
Love it.
Love it. Number two, career highlight, go.
Winning Sydney Sevens.
Ooh, not the World Championship?
Oh, shit.
Sorry, it's his show. My bad.
Come on, man.
Sorry, my bad.
Just stitch up.
How sweaty you are.
I'm feeling the pressure from Longy being on the show, man. He's my idol. Right, chill out. Relax. Number three, favourite teammate, go.
What was that? Favourite what?
Teammate. Sorry, I'm illiterate.
Favourite teammate? I would say it would be Corey Toole, but he brushed us. So.
Dog
He's
ass.
dead to you. He's dead to you. Get rid of him. Who else?
He's dead to me.
Number four, least favourite teammate.
Corey Toole. Oh,
No,
he's dead to me.
What a coinky ding.
And Corey Toole.
All right, number five, something from the heartstrings. Most influential person in your career.
Probably my old lady. Always pushing me to be better. Get me to training, get me to and from training. And that's the go with my sisters as well. They're always pushing me. They took me to training, put boots on my feet. So those three ladies.
Love that.
Thank you for participating, man. Well done.
Participation.
Thanks, Maurice.
Like I said, I can't
What a
speak.
freshman.
Love it.
What a fresh.
Maurice, mate, it's great having you on the show. This isn't actually the first time that you've talked to the Pig Athletic Club. Is that right? In Singapore at the Sevens, didn't you talk to...
That was a stitch up. That was a stitch up. Look how young I am.
Let's get back about here from PAC TV. With me, human highlight reel, Marcus Longbottom. Marcus, I'm
Marcus? What the hell?
You got stitched up.
Let's go again.
Let's go again.
For a PAC
Haha,
Rugby
Jakes, that was
Maurice
planned.
Longbottom with the human highlight reel machine.
There it is.
Unfortunately, loose.
There it is. So just to make sure that everybody remembers your name, I've actually created a little song for you. Just maybe an intro song when you run out to the sevens. Zachy, could you hit it? I want a mo who's a short bloke and them long bottom. Boom. Right? No one can forget that. Whoa!
Just real quick, could you show us a dance to that?
Oh, I was lucky to even get that one out, mate. We've also got some Instagram questions from this one's from Sim 2.0s. Is your secret to such blistering pace actually the length of your bottom? Is there something we should know? Or? Don't worry about that one, mate.
I get it, Longbottom.
Yeah. See,
Sorry,
mate. From Comma McMahon's question is, why does his Audi car have spinning rims? Do you in fact have spinning rims, or?
But like, you're in a different tax bracket, aren't you? You've got spinning rims on your Audi.
It's a fashion on the east side. You're gonna
He's got
He's
him.
moving up, mate.
That's
He's
all.
moving up.
That's all we need. That's the only answer we need, mate. From Lind Cuz, he says, "How did you and Chainsaw become best mates?"
Who's Chainsaw?
Exactly. That is
answer.
actually
Good answer.
I think he may have talked to you once at the sevens. He thinks he's your best mate.
Good, Brett.
And then to round it out, how's punting on the? Oh, this is from Dave Vaya. How's punting on the Coogee Oval grandstand on a Saturday night? What was the tip?
Mate, one of the all-time tips, right?
Here it is.
One of the
Oh, everyone
boys,
listen
Shawnee.
in. Lean in. Come in. Listen in.
So, first of all, we didn't have a clubhouse to go back and have a few beers with Wick. So, we're in the grandstand with a few cases. And one of the boys goes, Shawnee actually goes, I've got this tip. It's been on the juice. It's not losing. So, all of us just go, yep, we're loading it. We're loading it. The boys have hammered it. This thing's come out last.
No.
I'm telling you, if this thing's on juice, I'd hate to see it off juice.
Wrong juice.
It went backwards.
Oh, how good.
Filthy.
Oh, hell of a way to round it out, big fat ass. Well, Maurice, look, we won't hold you any longer, mate, but thanks so much for joining us. It's been awesome to have a yarn to you, mate, and all the best for the rest of the season. You haven't been going the best, but we'll be backing you in the whole way, and hopefully you can start to chop up and do what we know you guys can do. So thanks for joining us, mate. Have a good one, brother.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Maurice Longbottom, everybody.
Mate.
Thank you very much, Maurice Longbottom. Mate, he's a legend. What an absolute
He's a
legend.
goat. He's a goat.
Oh, Dave Vaya stitching him up.
Classic David.
He can do that. Now we will have Michael Atkinson from Channel 9 joining us in about 5-6 minutes. But in the meantime, now it's time for Battler's Bench. Take it away, big fat
Stop
ass.
pointing at me like that.
I'll be waiting for this.
Well, Ryan, he's not here. Mate, us here at the Battler's Bench, we thought we're always after trying to make money, industry, commerce, business, right? We are. And, what's our side hustle? So Ryan and I decided that, you know what? There's been a lot of lads heading down to Melbourne, right? They're probably all staying from the Reds. They're probably all staying in one room down there. They're going to need bunk beds, right?
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. I assume. And we've shipped players everywhere, right? They've gone to the Force, they've gone to the Waratahs, down the Brumbies. So we thought, how do we get into that? Well, this is what we came up with.
Ordered too much stock, and now it must go! Some big boys that need a bunk bed on a budget. Then at the Battler's Bench Budget Big Boy Bunk Beds, we have a deal for you! These beds have been handcrafted up here in QLD, and just like everything that's been lovingly crafted in Queensland, we will ship it not just down to Melbourne, but Sydney, Canberra, Perth, and Tokyo, and all over the world! You get great comfort with sleeping in the same room as your mates, but want nothing sus, call the Bunk Bed Boys. If you've got some big ooses that need somewhere for their big cabooses to sleep, then call the Bunk Bed Boys on 555-BONK. 555-BUNK was taken, but call 555-BONK, that's 555-2665. Get the bunk bed, boys. Budget, big boy beds, bunk beds.
So it's something that Ryan and I have been working on for quite a while, and we haven't launched yet.
Yeah.
It's a working time. The bunk bed that took me about 20 minutes to get that.
Yeah.
Budget, big boy bunk bed, little budget.
Your brain is a terrifying place, eh?
So it's just something we've been working on. Hoping we start shipping in September. So after footy season ends. So let's just see what happens.
You had me at ooses and cabooses. I just lost it.
And cabooses. I lost the rhythm in that one, but hey, we'll see what happens. And
Yes, big fat Das is back.
and then the next one is so.
Wait, there's a part 2?
No. Often there's a lot of things that like everyone talks about in rugby that you kind of go, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you're like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So in this little segment, we're probably it's going to be an ongoing thing because there's a lot of things I don't understand. This one is called Pretend I'm an Idiot, where
Okay.
do this. I gave you the graphic, didn't I? God damn it. Wait,
Pretend I'm an
don't
idiot,
pretend.
eh?
Don't pretend I'm an idiot.
Idiot.
I did not send it
Brilliant.
to you. And so pretend. Can you, J-Ball? J-Ball, Joey, Harry.
Talk to me.
You guys are very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Private equity.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Pretend I'm an idiot. Explain it to me like an idiot. Pretend I know less than nothing. Pretend I just nod when someone goes, private equity, good or bad. J-Ball, what is private equity?
So my understanding of private equity is, so say you've got a private equity firm like Silver Lake.
Nah, lost you.
Well, which is the one that bought into the All Blacks.
Yep.
I think, obviously, it's a conglomerate of people. You can be a shareholder in it and all that sort of stuff. And
Shareholders?
There's shareholders
Yep.
involved in a private equity firm, and then they go out and they buy, say, a portion of the All Blacks, say, 19% or whatever it is, and then obviously they own 19% of the All Blacks brand, and then money comes in. So they'll pay $500 million for X percent. The All Blacks get that money, and then they get a share of that company, and the shareholders obviously can buy into that.
Okay, what are the pros of private equity and what are the cons?
Oh, why are you doing this to me, man?
I don't know.
The pros are that it can flush the game with a
flush
shitload
it.
of cash.
Yes,
So,
flush with cash. However,
for example, Australia at the moment is looking to go out to market and are chasing 150 million for upwards of 19%. And then from that, obviously, the ARU, Rugby Australia, gets $150 million to
cash.
play with. The cons, I guess, you've then got however many shareholders
losing culture, all
involved.
about money, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, you've got
there's that.
another shareholder involved in the decision-making process who has a 19%
And it could be more
piece.
about the making of the doulers as opposed to the,
Yes.
the playing of the rugby.
I believe
Becomes
so.
more of a business.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know.
I don't.
I honestly don't
That's
know.
what I think
Harry?
it is. Harry, you're
Harry,
looking at me
yeah.
with a huge smirk.
Harry,
What's
Harry,
up?
get your mouth even closer to the microphone. Yeah, that's it. I want to hear you wheezing. Harry, you just go ditto or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I support J-Ball no matter what.
That's
Don't.
okay. To be honest, J-Ball, I know slightly more than I did before. Thank you.
I don't know if that's right, though.
Neither do I.
Hey, it doesn't matter if it's right. You believe it, I believe it.
Well, that's not.
Well, I don't
Probably
believe it,
should
though.
Okay.
Well, I think so.
Nah, do you want a breakdown of it?
From you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. 2 words. Private equity, right? Private,
Yep.
individual.
This is good.
Equity, portion share. So you got... You're breathing?
A personal portion share.
Yeah, so you're dividing it up between equal groups that have shareholding in the company.
Yep.
Private equity.
Joey?
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I was going to say that, but he took my answer.
That's why we did it together. That's what we got.
That's it. Starters. Thank you, J-Ball. Thank you, guys. I'm now more smarter. Pretend I'm an idiot. Put the graphic back up. Put the graphic back up.
Graphic?
No graphic?
Graphic?
No, I didn't. Probably didn't send it to him still.
Zoom in.
Don't
buddy.
zoom in on
Do
me.
it, do it.
Don't you dare. You zoom out. Thank you, Zachy. I appreciate it.
Hey, you got
Very
me. You got me.
Brilliant, big fat Das. Round of applause for another
Pretend
flawless Battlers Bench segment.
Show
End
the
up an
graphic.
idiot. Wow, I was the
graphic.
idiot in that segment. I didn't even know any of that.
Zaggy with the graphic.
We're all idiots. Don't worry, we're all as dumb as each other.
right, we're here for each
Atko's
other.
just about to join us, but before he does, lads, we've seen. We're going to obviously discuss this with Atko in a little bit more detail, but the Wallaby squad. So a lot of ins, a lot of outs. We've seen a lot of guys from Clubland get a gurt. Well, no longer Clubland, obviously, from the Super Rugby fold. But Harry, seeing guys like Reece Van Neck, Ryan Smith, Wilso's back in, Matty Fezler, like all these guys have now gotten a Guernsey to go into a Wallabies camp. That's absolutely awesome, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate. I reckon that's the part that we're missing now. Is if generationally for the last 10 years, I think we missed it. We got superstars coming in, and we missed having that bleed through, which, you know, in Clubland, Wilso, these boys, Reece, they've all played years of Clubland footy, and they've gone through, they've played their time. Now they deserve a shot at the big leagues. And I think that's the part of Clubland rugby that makes it special. And then when you go up to playing for Australia, it makes it more, the representative honour makes you bleed for it more, and it gives you that respect. I don't know, but for me, when you play the opportunity to play in front of your family and play for your country, there's nothing stronger than that feeling when you go on a field.
Bloody oath, man. And a lot of big outs though, Joey, and in particular, you know, a lot of them around concussion, having to sit out. One of the big pitfalls last year was the injury list that the Wallabies had, and I mean, it's only early doors now, but we've still got a lot of guys. I know it's just the first camp, so you will be resting a few, but a lot of concussions, a lot of strains. You've got the long-term injuries to guys like Angus Bell and Nella as well. So, I don't know, is that a bit troublesome this time of year, or?
Not in particular. Like, I think it's not necessarily that troublesome, only because we've obviously got like a lot of depth coming through, and the fact that Eddie's called upon these young clublands, and like just to say to reiterate what he's saying, it's so good to see that Eddie's actually picking a lot of our clubland players to come through. People that have actually put in the hard labour and now being able to reap the rewards. It actually inspires the next generation to stay within club root and grassroots rugby rather than leaving, going overseas. So, I think, you know, it's not necessarily such a bad thing that we're losing a lot of players. Like, I mean, to an extent, you know, the high caliber of what these players are, but at the same time too, it's awesome to see these clubland players getting opportunities to be able to, you know, do their thing and showcase their ability.
I think it gives a bit more rounding to the depth of the squad too, because I don't know about you guys, but any sort of premiership squad that I've ever been a part of, it's never been, you know, 20 or 30 guys. Just one.
I was going to say, maybe it's a one, baby.
100%.
Don't you start looking at me like that.
100% of
Hey, but just saying here, like, it's not 25 guys or 30 guys that do the job. There's
Yeah.
50 guys that have gone through the whole year, and it's sort of something that is Eddie's looking to build for the next year. And I don't think he's looking just there. I think he's looking the next World Cup, and he's looking generationally beyond there. So, you know, while he's doing this now, this is building guys in that are going to be the leaders for the next World Cup, and they're the guys that are going to set the culture. They're the guys that are going to set the foundations for what we need to do to build and get back to where we were as a strong top 3 competitor in the world rugby scheme.
Yeah, it's rewarding, man.
Man, you're on fire tonight, Haz. You were G'd up.
Sorry, dog.
Did you take pre-workout before coming on or something, mate? What is
it's
going
called
on?
pre-workouts, yes.
Whatever
You are
you call it,
ripping
it's
in.
working, Harry.
Thank you.
The Van Neck story, I love, man.
Yeah.
Like, played awesome club footy, was dominant.
Yeah.
Not wanted by the Reds. Oh, well, I'll go down. What are you doing, mate? Makes a Wallaby squad. But I think this is what Eddie does. He goes, whoever he takes over, he shakes it all up. You think you're definitely in. You think you're definitely like I was always the defense coach or whatever. He just like everyone's on their toes.
Yeah.
Some people will get jack of it and they'll go, but he doesn't want them. He's just gonna
Light fires, baby. Light fires.
I think that's why he's leaving out players that assumed they'd be in the squad. Now they're out. Then he's giving these young guys, they're in the squad. Then I just love what he does. He's so good.
I remember back in the day, like Reece Van Neck used to actually like come to training, like after first 15 training, he'd come down to South and he'd actually train with the Premier Grade squad and actually learn. And then like he wasn't even playing at that time, but then he was going back and playing schoolboys footy. But then to the point where it was like he then got his spot, and then he ended up going down to Where did he go? He down to Melbourne first?
Yeah, Rebels for a
Yeah,
bit.
he went down to the Rebels and then came back up, started playing at East because he got an opportunity to play Prems out there. And then just being, like I said, like being able to be a part of community grassroots rugby. And I said this in a couple of shows before, that he's learnt to bide his time behind amazing players. And it's actually developed his character as an individual and as an amazing athlete and as a person, just to, to go through adversity and then come through the other side. And now, look, he's reaping the rewards of getting that call up. So,
Love seeing Will so do his opportunity too. Like, that guy's gone in and out, and he's just come back. He just plays.
Yeah.
He plays hard rugby, man, and you miss seeing it sometimes in that competitive sphere. Like, sometimes we get a bit sideways or we start kicking game, but you can always count on Harry Wilson just to run straight at the bloke and just have an absolute go. So, mate,
Zero regard for his body.
Mate, zero regard. Mate, I love seeing it. You love seeing a guy rip and tear like that, and I think he deserves his opportunity. I think, it's not I think it's at the start of his career. I think he's got a lot of potential to go into that sort of leadership role, and I think he'll be there for a couple more years.
100%.
Hopefully, injury provisions and selection-wise, he'll have this opportunity to show his talents.
Speaking of the ripping and the tearing, Harry, you play Black Dogs on Friday night, mate. Welcome to 6th grade.
Woo!
Did you think there'd be less running rugby?
Mate, I honestly thought there'd be a lot less kicking and a lot more running and a lot less tackling. But, mate, I got smoked like 3 times. I looked at Das and went, yo, whoa, what's going on here?
They were young and fit, man. I think average age was 22. Ours was
32.
Well, think about it. Average age.
Minimum.
Love it. Love it. It was 32.
I remember looking at the referee at one point, and he's like, tackled. I'm like, I know. I'm on my back, mate. Give me a break.
It's clear.
Anyway, Black Dogs got up 14-0. So what up? We loving it.
Hey,
living
we did it.
Life's a garden to go dig it.
That's it. Look, we're just having a few technical issues trying to get Atco on the blower, unfortunately. So we'll just rip through some PAC news, and if he can join us and give us a little bit more context, that'd be great. We've gone through, obviously, the Wallaby squad. So a big one is Lockie Swinton was actually meant to be there, but now on top of that, and he is there, but on top of that, he's been ruled out, has for 7 weeks, the remainder of the season for his high shot on Jake Strawn. 30 seconds into the game, went unpunished because Jake Strawn essentially got up and kept playing, but they deemed it very high risk, very high intensity impacts. So
yeah, look, I think we're seeing a very high level of scrutiny on any of these head contacts that we're seeing in any of the crossover sports. We've seen it in league in that Broncos game the other week. We're seeing it, clubland. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw any of the Colts on the weekend. First tackle, 4 minutes in the game, high tackle, red card. I understand that there's collisions with the head and everything like that, but there's also the flow of the game, and you've got to be able to know the game to understand and respect what happens in a game, and that's some things that are ruining games and obviously taking away the opportunity from these players. So, look, I get the safety of the players is the utmost importance here, and I think we're on the right path, but over-regulation is killing the flow of the game and killing the speed and enjoyment for the players. So, at the same time, there has to be a balance between, regulation and safety, between the flow and the enjoyment for the game as well. So, look, I know it's probably tough for Lockie right now, but, mate, he's probably going to learn a little bit about it and probably keep his tackles down a little bit lower. But
no, he won't, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that on air.
Okay.
I'm just saying that.
So he did that in the first 30 seconds, and then in like the 4 minute mark, you see him, when he runs up out of the line and he has that like hunch that you're like, he's
like hunchback.
He just wants to belt someone in the head. And you're like, but he does it. I think that's what he thinks to get into the game, and he does it. I don't know whether it's nerves or what, but he goes, I'm going to make an impact, and he just absolutely just belts people, and he keeps doing it. And like, he did the same thing that Angus Blythe did, where he pretends to drop. Oh, just pretend to drop my head. Like, he had time to pull out. Blythe had time, and 10 weeks though. That's
10 weeks brought down to 7. So
brought down to 7?
Yeah. Out for the remainder of the Super Rugby Pacific season. So I think we might have Atco. No, it looks like he has just dropped out. Another big one, Joey, your thoughts on this? It's been confirmed Thorny is going to be stepping down at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on his career in regards to, obviously, coaching the Reds?
Yeah.
And then, I guess, who do you think would be the next cab off the rank?
Look, to be honest, I'm not too sure in regards to who would be the next cab off the rank. Like, would like to see a Hino in that position, only because he's built himself that reputation of what it takes to build a championship team, and we've seen it, and it speaks for himself. Like his record with UQ, like that speaks for itself. But in terms of the news with Brad Thorn, man, it is going to be a big loss. Not too sure in regards to who will be able to fill those shoes. But man, like his career, it speaks for itself in regards to his success and what he's been able to achieve. So,
Yeah.
man, yeah,
He's brought along a young side and gotten a hell of a positive result out of it. So,
Well, that's been it. It was entrusted to Thorny to get all these under-20 players. There was like 6, 7, 8 of them. They knew that times would be a little bit tough for the Reds for a couple of years, and Thorny got them up there, got them all up to speed. And as far as I'm concerned, he's done a phenomenal job.
Yep.
he's
As
left the
Joey's
place in a better position
big
than when
time,
he started.
and he's probably known that now's the time to hand the keys over, and he's done a phenomenal job.
I agree.
On that, we now have Atco on the blower. Atco, how you going, mate? Yes! Michael Atkinson, everybody. Round of applause. Yes, we finally got you, man. That was so stressful. That was very stressful.
I get paid by the minute for appearance, so I was actually just pumping up the invoice there.
Work
good,
smarter,
'cause we
not
done-
harder, man. Well, but Atco, while we've got you, mate, look, we were just discussing Thorny stepping down at the end of the season. It has been confirmed. No word yet in regards to his replacement. Is there anything on the Taro vine in regards to, maybe who is, I guess you could say, who is next in, or who are they talking to? Who do you think might be next in line, or who do you think should probably get a Guernsey, yourself personally?
Other than me, I think they're genuinely keen on Robbie Deans. Bombshell.
Rugged.
Spicy.
That'd be a lot of water that'd have to go under the bridge between me saying that and it actually happening. And by water, I mean cash.
Yeah, right.
Good yen in Japan. They also have that relationship with Panasonic, as we know. They went over there, toured over there, and played a tour game over there last year, and they've got some sort of like commercial arrangement with them. So that would be tricky to get around. Just they wouldn't want to, I guess, impact that relationship they have with them. Yeah. But the indication is they're really keen to get a really senior, experienced coach. It's just a matter of obviously who's available and how much money they've got to spend. But all the whispers around Hino being the guy already there, of succession in place, I don't think that's the case anymore.
Why is that?
I think that when Brad took over, they didn't have a lot of other options, and they didn't have a lot of money, and they were in a really bad way financially. The whole organisation was, and they're all really grateful for the job that Brad did. And I heard you guys talking about it there. Like he kind of developed pretty much an under-20 side into a Super Rugby side, and half of those guys into Wallabies as well. And that's coming from a guy who wasn't a very experienced coach when he took over, and that's by his own admission as well. They don't want to go back to another development coach. They're in a much better place as an organisation. They've cleared a lot of debt. They've announced another financial surplus just recently. They've obviously got that financial asset up and running, or soon to be up and running, in Ballymore. So they're just in a better position. They don't want to have to go back to development coach. And as good as Hino is at Clubland, or has been or was at Clubland, he's only done one season as a Super Rugby assistant coach, and he's not ready to take over as a super coach, is my assessment.
Loose. You
Sorry.
You have very good intel, man. You make us look like the biggest dummies, eh? We really appreciate you, Akko. You're really bringing up the IQ of this show.
Okay,
where's Freeney here to explain like finance?
Well, that's another reason why the IQ's going up as well.
He's right here. Mate, just a quick one.
Oh, Ryan, you've slimmed down, I see.
Full of knowledge and hot air. Mate, in regards to Ballymore, are there any rumours, hints, plans to possibly at least playing some, or if not, the majority of their games at Ballymore at this stage, or that's not even on the radar? I wish it was.
It's probably not right to say it's not on the radar.
Yep.
I think it could happen, but I think it would be a case of like the odd game gets taken there from a Reds point of view.
Yep.
Because when you look at it realistically, at the moment, the capacity of the new Ballymore is about 8,000. If they get further works or further phases of that redevelopment ticked off and funding ideally will eventually get up to about 15,000 come Brisbane 2032 to be what's it going to be, a hockey venue for the Olympics in Brisbane. And 15,000 is nice, and everyone gets romantic about boutique stadiums and the atmosphere and suburban feel and all that sort of stuff. But if the Reds are winning, which they want to be, they can get 20,000 at Suncorp Stadium, and then you make big bank. And if you get 20,000 plus for the majority of your games, which they want to back themselves to be back at that stage, they'll make a shitload more money. So that's what it boils down to. It's just coin. I think if they can get it approved somewhere down the line, I reckon they'd like to take 1 or 2 games there. It'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Like, I mean, we're all rugby people. It'd be superb, but they got to make money, and they'll make more money at Suncorp if they can get good crowds.
Good answer. Perfect. I will accept that answer. Thank you.
Thank you, big fat ass.
Thanks,
Another
Dar.
thing you've spoken previously about was in regards to, excuse me, the Queensland potentially losing the opportunity to host a Lions test in 2025. There was a lot of input from, I think, South Australia and WA to be able to get that. But you have come out just recently and said it's all but a done deal. Queensland will host not just the Reds in the first game, but also the Wallabies in the first test.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to being T's crossed, I's dotted, and ink drying. Like I think at the moment it's not done and not signed, but it's pretty well at that position, which is a pretty big turnaround, because I think it was a month or so ago I wrote that we were looking like we were going to miss out, because as you said there, Jay, Adelaide and Perth were throwing massive money at Rugby Australia, like the kind of money that a sport which is struggling financially can't ignore. And I know people want to scream about rugby heartlands and that sort of stuff, which is nice to think about, but at the end of the day, it's a professional game. You got to go where there's money, and they couldn't really not look at those offers. But I think what I do know is that, like, Queensland government and government agencies like Tourism Events Queensland, Brisbane Economic Development Agency, and Queensland Rugby Union got together and put together like a massive collaboration. You know, teamwork makes the dream work, and came up with a bit more of a competitive offer from a cash point of view, but also like strategically legacy stuff, tourism stuff, and I think that's got them over the line. As I said, that could change. I hope not, because I reported it's coming, so I look like a goose. But I think it'd take something pretty drastic for that test not to come here. So it sounds like the game between the Lions and the Reds is likely going to be the very first game, if not one of the first 2 games. But I think it's going to be the very first game of the whole tour, which is probably going to be about 9 matches in total. And then the Brisbane test will likely be the first test of the 3. It'll go Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. So, yeah, let's go lion hunting, boys.
In our own backyard. Love it.
Absolutely pumped. That's so sick. And another thing, Atco, I don't know, you weren't on the blower for this, but Big Fat Das did a segment called Pretend I'm an Idiot and ask the question, what is private equity? So there's been chat. There's been chat over the last week that Rugby Australia is getting all their ducks in a row to be able to go to the market now and hopefully get upwards of about 150 million for, I think, about 17 or 19% of the game. What's your take on this, and what is private equity?
It's private, mate. Can't talk.
Yes.
Secrets. I don't actually like. It's just basically they're selling off some of their house to someone who has a shitload of money. Is probably the most basic way to put it. And I'll put my hand up. I worked for 6 months in an investment bank in London. And I fucking hated it, so I came back and did sports journalism. So, not speaking from a position of authority when it comes to financial institutions. But yeah, they definitely are getting their ducks in a row. It's called, my sources tell me it's called Project Aurora. So there's a committee that's looking at it, and I think as recently as a few weeks ago, it was approved from a Rupa point of view that the players and Rupa and stuff support the game exploring the market. So not like definitely doing it, but exploring the market. And the idea is they'll sell about a 19% stake in Rugby Australia for somewhere that's been reported, as you said, Jay, 150 to 250 million, which obviously is a shitload of cheddar. It'd be really good for the game, that injection of cash. But I guess the fear or the potential downside of private equity or selling anything that you currently own to someone else is what control do you lose over it? And the other thing is, if you're taking capital on from someone, you get obviously a big initial injection of cash, but I think it's essentially one injection of cash, so it's not like a revenue stream. It's not an income stream, so you've got to still find a way to get income coming through. So it'd be like, if like, I don't know, West's opened the bar just one weekend of the year and went, righto, all the money we take over the bar tonight is going to support us for the rest of the year and we don't need to do anything else.
He's going to pay for the airfares of all the Rebels players. and to put it up
That's why
the
they
Ibis.
got blokes. That's why they got blokes like you, Das, to put a shitload of coin over the bar.
That's it. Rumbos.
But yeah, I think I'm right. But someone in the white collar world who follows rugby and works in finance is probably going to comment on here later or jump on next week and be like, "That bloke you had on last week knows nothing."
Where are we going to find someone who works in the white collar game in rugby? Oh, Jesus.
I'm wearing a white collar.
Yeah, it's pretty filthy. No, but on top of that, mate, just real quick, we discussed it very briefly, but Lockie Swinton copping that 7-match ban for that high shot, it sort of sets the tone, and it is a hallmark of his game, and it has seen him, maybe his involvement in the Wallaby squad up at Sanctuary Cove going on at the moment, maybe diminished a little bit. Not ideal leading into a World Cup, but on top of that, Eddie's first camp. Is there any news coming out of that? How are people liking it? Is it flowing pretty well? What's up?
He pulled out a cattle prod.
What?
Hey?
No. He did?
Yeah, like an electric cattle prod.
I love that.
Did he really?
Yeah. So he when they announced the squad a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Eddie did a Zoom interview with any media people that wanted to ask him questions. Just a normal media conference, but they do it via Zoom, so people from around the country can Zoom in and stuff, and ask questions. And Eddie's been big on players pick themselves through performance. If you're not in the squad and you don't like it, play better. If you're in the squad, keep playing better to stay there, or you'll miss out. And so I was on the media conference and I said to him, "You've said this, players pick themselves, blah, 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 all those things about form. But you've picked Suliasi, and with all due respect to Suli, he's not been playing well at all, so why have you picked him? That's a contradiction." And he said, "You pick guys who are world-class, blah, 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 blah." Gave his reasonings for Suli. And then he said, because I mentioned in the question that I'd seen Suli train, and he just looks like he's lacking confidence and everything when I watch him train at Ballymore. And the end of Eddie's answer, he goes, "So, mate, if you got a cattle prod at Ballymore, take it along, mate. Give him a little jab, mate."
Oh, nah.
And then I was at
sounded like he was
training
online. It's like he was right here.
So I was at Wallabies training at Sanctuary Cove on Monday, and one of the boys said that he pulled "Where are you?" And then I was walking around the field, and I found the cattle prod sitting on the grass.
Loose. That is old school, eh?
He didn't use it. Let's be clear. He didn't use it.
Pussy.
It was a joke. He didn't use it. It was a joke. It was all just Eddie joking. But yeah, it's funny.
I don't know. If any coach in World Rugby is going to bust out a cattle prod and maybe fire it up, you think it might be Eddie Jones?
Well, Checker busted out the one wood, the one iron. Remember? Remember that story? He busted out a one iron in a team meeting. It was revving the boys up with something to do with a golf club and smashing or driving people or something like that.
I haven't heard anything about that.
Must have missed that one.
Have you not heard that story?
No.
You know what?
Yeah.
Pack exclusive. Let's go. What is it?
Mate, your PAC exclusives get me in trouble. So
They do, yeah. Sorry about that one. You can blame that one on Marv.
Hold on. Are we off here? Okay,
but
go.
yeah, no, that's Eddie showing a bit of personality.
Yeah,
When I was there, I will give you a red hot tip.
Yeah.
They looked. I think it's this would happen if you got a change of coach and that sort of stuff. But it was a real positive vibe. There was a lot of like up and about players. Training was really upbeat, intensity. Eddie was really positive. A lot of praise being heaped on the players and
Cattle
that
prod
sort of
in
stuff.
hand.
Like coupled with a bit of like, we need to work on this. But like, that's great, that sort of stuff. So,
Yes.
mate, it's amazing watching him train or coach rather. Like he's such a little bloke, but he just has this presence. He just walks around the field with a ball under his arm at all times, and he's like. Everyone's towering over him. Ryan Lonergan's towering over him. That's how small Eddie is. But he just has this presence. And he's just such a dominant figure on the field. You can see why he's been so successful for so long.
Bloody oath, mate. Mate, it is exciting. But, mate, Atco, thanks so much for joining us. As I said, you've blown the IQ through the ceiling here at DoubleTake Studio. So we really appreciate you joining us. And hopefully we can get you on sometime soon again.
I got an OP in double digits, boys. I won't tell you what digits exactly, so I'm not that smart.
Yeah, well, the rung's set very low here, mate. So appreciate your time.
You got an OP, well done.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Philly, what's an OP?
Michael Atkinson, everybody. Atco, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Atco, man. He's a legend.
How good
Absolute
is
legend.
That? How good is that? Just being able to hear that the spirits of the boys in camp have been up.
Oh, mate,
awesome
and
to hear.
Atco has his finger on the pulse.
He does, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, in a massive way. And he is just a, dyed-in-the-wall rugby fan.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely loves it. Started out at the Reds, actually.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, up at Channel 9 doing the sports reporting and stuff
that's
like
awesome.
that. But, mate,
Awesome.
he's a bloody good asset to the game in Queensland and Australia. And I think more blokes like Atco.
Because, do you remember that One Wood thing? And like, huh?
One wood?
No, we didn't hear about that. No,
We don't know
and
these
the cattle
things.
prod, like, huh? What?
No, we're
No.
not privy to this sort of stuff.
I
Atco.
love that info.
Alrighty,
Drops it.
now let's rip through our tipping. Look, as per usual, we've got a shitload of footy coming up this weekend. So we just want to give our red hot takes. Once again, Big Fat Das, we'll start with your red hot take from the upcoming footy this weekend. And what are you looking at?
Mate, I went with, Manly currently 6th to
Yep.
beat North's top of the table.
Why is that?
Manly have their 2 losses that they have had have been within 3 points and by 7 points. Mm-hmm. And I just feel they're just going up, mate.
Yeah.
They're going to take it. Mate, I did quickly watch the Wildfires. They have some big boppers, mate.
Oh, mate,
I love
Wildfires are loose.
I love just seeing them running around. That number 8, oh, jeez.
I think,
I was actually watching some Shoot Shield. Wasn't too bad.
Come on,
Nice.
man.
It's good.
Atueti, I think it is, the number 8.
He's
2
good.
man of the match performances in 3 rounds. Absolutely awesome.
Frothing
And it
on
is
him.
Manly Ladies' Day this weekend.
Oh.
So
Oh, wow.
another
Even
reason
more
to get
so,
up.
of course.
Watch out.
Yep.
Has your red hot take from this weekend's footy?
This weekend coming, mate, I'm going to go with the local derby. We got Jeeps versus Wests, and I'm going to have to pick the doggies again. And hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Is that it? No reason why?
No reason why, just Jeeps can get heaps, and Dogs going to shove it, and we're going to win it.
Hell
Can't
yeah,
wait.
brother.
Come on down.
Looking
Hell
forward
yeah,
to it.
brother. Hell yeah,
Coming off the
brother.
draw from last week.
Mate, yeah, tough
that
round,
was-
but mate, you love to see it. You love to see Uni put a performance in like that. Mate, it was great rugby. You can't fault them, and unfortunately, we couldn't execute on some points. First year they've been on the hill, which I absolutely loved. So it was great to hear the Colts boys throwing a bit of banter, and we had a great initiation night. So let's just say club culture is strong with the doggies. Let's be
And
very
the
clear.
stench of cat food is even stronger.
Dog
Hell
food.
yeah.
Dog food.
Dog food.
I just got flashbacks of this dude that night. Holy heck. He was
Also,
on fire.
I think everyone's sleeping on Brothers. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, brothers are
They
looking
are
Brothers are phenomenal, mate. They
Mate,
did the
always.
job against Bond. Joey Lala.
Red hot tip this weekend is definitely the Crusaders versus the Rebels this weekend on Friday night. Now, the reason why I say it's my red hot tip is because we get to see the current best 10 in the world, which is in Richie Mo'unga.
Which is Carter
and
What?
wait. No, but that's what I was
And-
going to say. And
but-
Carter Gordon, who is going to be the
The
future.
fire.
So it's going to be pretty much a
the current and the future.
yeah, the Trans-Tasman, like this is what it could look like in future battles
Love it.
between the
Hell
Wallabies
yeah, brother.
and the
Hell
All
yeah.
Blacks. So that's my red hot tip.
Who's your tip?
Who is the tip, though?
Then it's going to be a clash.
It's going to be a clash.
It's going to be a clash.
It's
It'll
gonna
be a
clash
game.
of Titans.
It's
Thanks,
sure will be
Joey.
a game,
Nah,
baby.
but- yeah, put your money on the house that it's going to be a game of football.
Nah, but
Thanks,
I
mate.
the Crusaders on that one.
Saders.
Oh,
Say
dog.
dog.
Come on, Brett. Let's go to Rebs.
Alrighty, now
Come on,
it's
Wes.
time for our
Come on, Wes.
rugby's from the weekend's just gone. Big fat Das, your rugby. Damien McKenzie.
Mate, D-Mac. Everyone, he's just such a workhorse, and he just keeps. Everyone talks about Bowden Barrett, everyone talks about Richie Mwanga, but this guy has so much heart. His involvement in these games, 1 try, 3 penalties, 4 conversions, two conversions. All right, man, it's it, man. Mate, just and he's such a small bloke, mate. But the amount of impact that he makes on games is phenomenal, and everyone. You know, you got Richie, but he can play 10, 15 just as well as Bowden Barrett can, and I just think he's the reason why the Canes are going so well. Are they still equal first?
Chiefs.
They were equal first last week.
Yeah, Chiefs are on top.
Yeah, but
He plays for the Chiefs.
he plays for the Chiefs. I forgot that. D-Mac.
Graphic.
Roll graphic, Zach. Jesus Christ. Battler's bench is flying tonight. Has your rugby had to go with Dobby?
Mate, I did. I went with Dobby. Ethan Dobbins, mate. He just keeps showing up. But I will give an honourable mention here to Pat Murray, mate. One of the
Someone that doesn't play for West.
Yeah, look,
Jeez.
mate, I am biased to West, and I always will be.
No way,
But, mate, I do recognise talent. I do recognise guys that play for the sport. And I will say, Connor Mitchell, Pat Murray, you guys are absolute legends. I spoke to Connor Mitchell the other weekend at the Caco after one of the games. And, mate, that guy bleeds rugby and he loves footy. And just getting around the sport is the bottom line here, mate. I don't care what team you play for. I've said it to friends, mate, and now that I'm in a different career path of rugby, I'll be there on the sideline watching teams play each week in, week out. But seeing guys like that playing in and ripping in, that's what you love to see on a Saturday afternoon. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Nice. Second week in a row you've chosen 3 rugbies. Well done, Haz. You're on fire.
At least he didn't choose the Blues.
Yeah.
Who are the Blues, by the way?
He chose the Blues and then ended up going, I'll just choose one. And that guy too. And the other fella.
My bad. I break the rules, but
Yeah, you are very cool.
Yeah, you do. We need to have a talk about this after the show.
you can, sweet,
Yes,
man.
off air. Joey Lala, yours, Annabelle Cody, mate.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm just going to have to say, she is an absolute beast. And I reckon she literally put the team on her back on the weekend and scored 2 meat pies, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But just her ability, like her rugby IQ, she went overseas and then came back and just inserted herself into this team. And, mate, her aggression on the pill, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
She
just
scares the hell out of me.
Like, she does. But she's awesome. Like,
She's awesome.
And she's got the best shit chat I've ever heard.
Oh, man, she
She's got
is one
chat.
of the coolest people you'll ever meet. She scares the hell out of me. But I remember when she was playing for the Doggies in a grand final against Sunnybank a few years ago, and she's like, this is a Sunnybank side that I haven't lost in 6 years, and she's like teeing off, trying to fight him and like punch him in the face. She's like, come on, my mate. And I'm like, oh my God. Mate, it was bloody red hot, and it was absolutely awesome. But yeah, Annabelle Cody, man, she's an absolute gun and an absolute mongrel.
Yeah, she did well on the weekend. So.
And
On
weapon
your
on the
codes.
piss. All right, well, that rounds out this week's episode of the PAC Rugby Show. It's gone a little bit longer, but we hope you enjoyed it because we brought you a shitload of content, hell of a lot of good banter, and some very weird fever dreams type stuff from Big Fat Darcy's Melon. Joey Lala, Harry Higgins, Big Fat Das, thank you so much for sitting in, lads. Zachy Boy on the 1s and 2s, as per
Come on,
usual.
Zachy.
DoubleTake Studios, man. They're absolutely crushing it. A round of applause for
Put
Zachy.
up the
as per
graphics.
usual.
Zachy.
Graphics, baby.
Graphics.
Nah. Hopefully we get it by next week. But in the meantime, stay safe, enjoy your footy, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.